And I'll just introduce myself quick. My name is Francesca Borland. I'm from the admissions office, so I work with all of the undergraduate students. So any questions about the application process, I'm happy to answer any of those or connect you with whoever your specific admissions counselor is. I work specifically with students from Rochester, so each of us have our own territories, so I'll be able to connect you if you're not from the Rochester area. But thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Hopefully the rain stopped where everybody is.
Well, I was just looking on the news. They were saying that all these flights this afternoon were from Buffalo were diverted to Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah.
field.
Thanks, Megan.
Megan, do you go to Mount St. Mary's Academy? I think I'm seeing on our database.
Yes.
My daughter graduated from there in 2012, so she's a Mountie.
We have a couple students from there, a freshman, I think, this year. So.
And I see Laura. Did Laura introduce herself? Laura, are you a grad student? You're looking to be a grad student? D.
Yes, Laura's a grad, at least according to the.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, we'll just start things out. Francesca introduced herself. She, as she said, is in undergraduate admissions. She'll put her email in there in case you want to follow up later, anything related to getting your application in and that information going forward. I'm Dr. Chandra Foote. I'm Dean of the College of Education at Niagara University. I have been at NU for 26, going on 27 years now. Started out as a faculty member teaching child development courses and classroom management courses and research courses and things like that, and have moved into more administrative kinds of things. But it's always my pleasure to join you all to talk a little bit about our programs and what makes us a little different from other places. And I will let my colleague introduce herself. Go ahead, Tam.
Hey guys, my name's Tammy Bruno. I'm the Assistant Dean in the College of Education. That basically means that I am kind of like the school counselor. I work most closely with the undergrad students, though I spent many years working with grad students, so I speak both languages. I also teach some of the introductory courses here at the graduate and undergraduate level. So welcome.
Thanks. So in a second, we're going to break off into two different rooms. I think staying here in this room will be the individuals interested in the undergraduate program. And Ms. Bruno, Tammy will walk you through our undergraduate programs and answer any questions related to that. And I will take us to a breakout room and for the graduate students, anybody interested in our graduate teacher education programs. Before we go, you're gonna kind of get a general feel of our programs overall. We have usually 3 phases of our programs. They start out focusing on getting to know the students, understanding student diversities, student disabilities and exceptionalities. Then they progress to methods level coursework, and where you learn about lesson planning and unit planning and assessments and things like that. And then they cap off with final field experiences in student teaching, where you begin to take on all of the responsibilities of being a teacher. But our programs include field experience in every semester along the way. So you'll have lots of opportunities to apply the things that you're learning. So if I can, I'm going to try to make a breakout room. Yes, there's a breakout room. I'm going to let participants choose the room. And hey, if we all get lost, we all come back to this regular room, right? So I'm creating one breakout room. The goal here is that if you're interested in our graduate programs, meaning you already have a bachelor's degree, you're going to come over with me to the breakout room. If you don't already have a bachelor's degree, so you're interested in completing a bachelor's, whether it's as a freshman or a transfer, you're going to stay here with Tammy. All right. So I'm creating the room and I'm opening the room. Let's see.
I think you will have Maureen with you and Hope with you. And let's see. Okay.
This is fun. I've never done this before.
Yeah, I think Maureen wants to go with Dr. Foote. Maureen, can you hear me?
Or Mariana? Oh, Maureen, yes. Okay. I see.
Yes, I can.
You
And
should
for
go
graduates,
You should go into the breakout room with Dr. Foote, I believe.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is that room 1? Sorry,
Yeah.
please.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
You're
For
welcome.
graduates, right?
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Alessandria, I believe, was going. Alessandria, are you undergraduate for bachelor's degree?
Oh, yes, I think she is. She wrote in the chat from Niagara Falls, Ontario. Interested in teaching both elementary and high school undergrad.
And undergrad. So I was a little confused there. I wasn't sure. Let's see.
Oh, no
Sorry,
worries.
audio isn't working. So Alessandria, do you have a bachelor's degree already or no? No.
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, here we go. Okay, so again, I'm Tammy Bruno. I'm the assistant dean, and I work mainly with undergraduate students. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you. I'm just going to zip through it kind of quickly to give you the overview of our program, and then we can chat and answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to share my screen and just make sure I don't have the wrong thing up here. There we go. And okay, whoops. Share my screen. All right. Can you see that okay? Everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Just have to make sure I can see everybody here, all the boxes. All right, so I'd like to start out talking kind of about my favorite things that make our program unique at Niagara University. We refer to them as our points of distinction, so things that distinguish us from other schools that you might be considering. First and foremost, our students who declare education as a major, they start out right in their education major, so they don't have to work through any general ed requirements or anything like that before they can be entered into the program. You actually start out as an education major, and from your very first semester on campus, you will be working in real schools with real students for about 20 hours a semester. So this is a really great way to think about what's happening in your classrooms, what you're learning here at Niagara, and see it actually in action in live classrooms. So you'll do that for every semester while you're here until you go out student teaching. This is kind of a unique attribute of our program. Most programs don't do that. Most programs you start about in your junior year, you start going out into schools. So this is something that's a little bit different. We do this because we believe that you can't really make a teacher in just a couple of years. You actually need the full 4 years to learn the theoretical and academic information and to get time in the schools with real kids, to get the feel of what it's like to be a teacher and to develop those interpersonal skills in working with students. So we'll get you right out in schools. We provide transportation if you don't have transportation of your own, and we arrange the placements for you, though there is an option to arrange your own placement if you're interested. Another thing that is special about our programs is that we have the highest four-year graduation rate in Western New York, public or private. Niagara University does. And then at Niagara University, the College of Education has the highest four-year graduation rate. Now you might say, well, you know, what's the big deal? Who cares about that? It's actually really important for a few reasons. The first thing is you don't want to pay for extra semesters that you don't have to. So it makes the experience more affordable. And also you want to get out there and get teaching. You want to get a job while there are lots of job openings right now. So we work really closely and individually with our students to make sure that you get the classes you need when you need them, so you stay on track for graduation. That's something that I spend a lot of time on, actually, is looking over your registration every semester to make sure that you're in the right classes, you've had good advisement, and you're staying on track to finish with your degree. A third thing that makes us kind of stand out from the rest of the institutions in the area is that 100% of our students who want to be working after graduation are currently working. That means if you get out of school and you want a job as a teacher, you're going to get hired as a teacher. We have, in one of our programs in particular, our TESOL program, we have every year had every single student before graduation receive job offers. So that means before you've even officially graduated, you could know where you're going to end up working, where your first full-time grown-up job is going to be. So that's really great news. You know that if you come to Niagara, you're going to be well prepared and have lots of employment opportunities. After you spend all this time learning to become a teacher, you want to get out there and get working. In New York State, teachers have to take certification exams to become licensed. That's whether you're Canadian or US, you have to go through this pathway. If you're Canadian, you'll get certified in New York State, and that will transfer over to Ontario. But if you're from the US, you also have to take, you know, the initial certification pathway. So most of our students have to take between 2 and 4 certification exams over the last few semesters of the program. Our students have pass rates on those certification exams in the high 90s, which is really, really great news for you, because you know that we prepare our students well and that they can get out there and be successful on those certification exams. Something that you want to be mindful of when you're looking at different institutions, if you're looking at a school and they tell you we have 100% pass rate on all of our certification exams across the board, you want to be careful about your decision to attend an institution that says that, because that means that they will not let you graduate until you pass your certification exams. We separate those two things. For us, graduation is an academic accomplishment. So your graduation from Niagara University is an academic achievement, and you will graduate as long as you meet the academic requirements for graduation. So you pass all your classes, you have a good GPA, and so forth. Certification is a New York State requirement. So we separate those two things out, so you can graduate even if you haven't finished taking your certification exams, but we will support you in preparing for those certification exams, understanding what you need to do, what that pathway looks like, and so forth. We just don't blend the two together to force you to pass those in order to graduate. Though almost every single one of our students do pass right before they graduate. We also have a certification officer who helps you along the way with that. We'll talk about that a little more in a few minutes. And the fifth and final thing that is a little bit unusual about Niagara is that we offer 4+1 and 4+2 programs for our teacher education students to begin their master's degree while they're still finishing up their bachelor's degree. This is really good for a few reasons also. First of all, every teacher in New York State has to earn a master's degree within 5 years. So you graduate from your undergrad, You have 5 years to earn a master's degree to turn your teaching certificate from initial to professional, which is kind of like permanent. That's one of the requirements. Well, we let you get started ahead of time. You can start in your junior or senior year if you have room in your schedule to take graduate classes, and they're free. They're part of your undergraduate package or tuition. So undergrads can take between 4 and 6 classes every single semester. You know, it's up to you. Do I want 4 classes? Do I need 5 classes to stay on track, and so forth? Well, if we know you want to do one of our 4+1 or 4+2 programs, we can build those into your schedules so that you actually complete a full year of graduate school before you graduate with your bachelor's degree. Again, this is super beneficial because you get out of school and you've already got about half of that master's degree done, and you're well on your way before you take your first teaching job, where you might want to slow down a little bit with school while you get used to having your own classroom. So these are some unique benefits of our programs, in addition to many of the other wonderful attributes at Niagara, which we'll talk a little bit about. I like to start off here so that you really remember the things that separate us from some of the other schools you might be looking at. So what grade levels can you get certified in? All of our programs certify you in at least 2 different areas. So we want everybody to come out of Niagara with 2 areas of certification. The first area is early childhood and childhood. So that's birth to grade 2 and grades 3 through 6. That's what we think of as traditional elementary school teaching. The next program is childhood and middle childhood education. This is grades 1 through 9. So this is that elementary school teaching, but you also are prepared to teach middle school. So you would have to, in addition to the elementary school preparation, you'd also have to pick an area of concentration. So English, math, social studies, one of the sciences, a language, and so forth. Because in middle school, it's not a multiple subject certification, it's just one subject area. So if you're not quite sure, you're like, oh, I love little kids, but maybe I want to be prepared to teach within a subject area, this would be an awesome pathway for you. We also have middle and adolescence education. This is if you definitely know, I don't want to teach elementary school, but I would like to teach maybe middle school or high school within a content area. Again, those subject areas, English, math, social studies, one of the sciences, one of the languages, you can get certified to teach in those areas at the middle or high school level. A lot of our students also choose to combine one of those certification areas with special education. You can do that at the elementary or the secondary level. So if you would like to be an elementary school teacher, but you would also like to be certified as a special education teacher, you can do that. Similarly, if you would like to teach middle school and adolescent, but you also think you might want to be a special ed teacher for older kids, you can combine the program to do that. Then we have one more big growing area of certification, which is called TESOL, Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. So you've probably heard of this called ESL, ENL, English as a second language, English as the next language, lots of acronyms out there to describe it. And there's a little bit of confusion about this field, so I like to go over it a little bit in these sessions. This is for people who want to help non-native English speakers acquire English language skills while supporting them within the other subject areas. So you're not speaking in another language, you're not teaching in another language. A lot of people get this confused with bilingual education. Say I spoke Spanish, I would teach English in Spanish or teach math in Spanish to Spanish speakers. That is not what this is. You may have students who speak 25 different languages. Your job is to be the person who helps them learn how to use English to navigate the school, to navigate their courses, and to acquire English speaking skills. So you are teaching them to be successful using English as the language within which they work in the schools. So this is a very interesting area to work in. Again, it's one of our most popular majors, and the major that students immediately have jobs for when they major in this area. If there is one non-native English speaker in a school, they have to have an ESL teacher. So lots of jobs out there. This major, a lot of our students double major with this. So they might do B to 6 elementary education with TESOL, or 7 to 12 math education with TESOL. So it's a really interesting double major that you could do as well if you really want to expand those areas of certification and prepare for many different job opportunities. These are the content areas I was talking to you about. So if you are pursuing certification at the middle school or high school level, you will have to choose a subject area. So these are the subjects you've all taken along the way: English, math, bio, chem, Spanish, French, social studies, and business. If you choose to be an elementary school teacher, most of our elementary school teachers have this concentration right here, this liberal arts concentration. This is because elementary school teachers and TESOL teachers who are certified in grades K to 12 are teachers of multiple subject areas. So they teach a little bit of everything. They help students learn English, math, history, science, art. You know, they work within many different content areas. So we suggest having a liberal arts concentration. That means that you kind of pick 3 areas of specialization. Most of our students will choose ELA or English for one of those, and then 2 other specialties, maybe math and science, or maybe history and Spanish. You can mix them up kind of according to your strengths or preferences, and we work with you individually to figure out what type of a liberal arts concentration would work best for you. You know, I talk about my favorite things at the very beginning, and then I like to swing back to another one of the great attributes of our program, which is our faculty. Our faculty, all of our full-time faculty have the highest degrees. They all have doctoral degrees, but more important than that, they've all been teachers. They've all worked in the field. They've been administrators. They've all worked in schools, and they continue to research in schools. So they are wonderful resources for our students. In addition to that, you know, deep academic knowledge, they have all of this practical experience that they share with our students. Our class sizes are super small. They're usually between 10 and 20 students. That means you get to know your professors. You can talk to your professors. You get lots of feedback from them. You can work with them individually, opportunities for research. So many ways in which you can really dive into your subject area a little bit deeper. Your faculty will also be your advisors. So every semester you'll meet with a faculty advisor who will help you plan your schedule for the next semester, talk to you about what your pathway might look like. Do you want to do a study abroad? How are your placements going? Does your major feel like the right fit? Did you think you wanted to be an elementary school teacher? Now maybe you want to switch to secondary. They help you think about those changes in pathways and try to figure out which decisions might best suit your future degree. So you'll work with a faculty advisor every single semester. We also have some of the highest academic standards at the university. So our programs are competitive to be admitted into, but we also expect that while you're here, you will be achieving at a certain level. That's because we think that teaching is such an important profession, and we want to make sure that you are well prepared to get into the classroom, but also to be successful on those certification exams that you're going to have to take, and then to pursue your graduate degree. That requires you to build good academic skills while you're an undergrad. So we will be working with you and available for you if you need any type of support while you're going through our undergrad program. And interestingly, many of our students have the opportunity to go to conferences with faculty members, to work on research projects, and actually begin building their resume before they've even graduated. Oops. So what else? I told you what happens on campus, why I think our programs are exceptional, but there are some other cool things that you can build into your undergrad experience at Niagara. The first thing I like students to really think about, I told you you're going to get right out into schools, but I want you to understand how important that is to your future career. Many institutions, you don't get into the classrooms, as I said before, until you're a junior, sometimes even a senior. So you might only experience a couple different classrooms. That's something you should think about, because I think it's important to figure out what grade levels you're most interested in, which types of districts you're most interested in. Maybe you've always gone to a suburban district, but you get into one of these really exciting urban schools and you're like, wow, that's a super great fit for me. Those kids really need teachers who are excited and engaging and interesting. So we try to get you out in as many schools as we possibly can. That means that by the end of your program, you will have at least 8 internships that you will have completed during the time you're at Niagara. That's going to be a great resume builder for you right off the bat. The way the model looks is for the first few years of your program, so freshman, sophomore, first semester of your junior year, you're going to be in these impact placements. That's when you just get used to being on the other side of the desk. So you're not a student anymore, but you're not a teacher. You're getting used to what schools look like from a teacher's perspective, however. So that's about getting you comfortable, helping you to understand what teaching looks like, working maybe one-on-one with students in small groups. You're going to build your level of responsibility over the time you're at Niagara and you're in this impact placement in our partner schools. Then when you get into the second semester of your junior year and the first semester of your senior year, you're going to complete what's called a teaching assistantship. So you'll take on a little more responsibility then. You're going to plan a couple of lessons, you're going to teach a couple of lessons, and all of this is getting you ready for that final capstone experience, that second semester of your senior year, where you will get out into the schools and complete the full-time student teaching placement. In Canada, they actually call it practice teaching, because this is where you take everything you've learned and you put it together and you practice in a super well-supported environment. So you have that classroom teacher who's a resource for you. You have a student teaching supervisor who comes and visits you in the classroom and helps you and supports you. You take a seminar class, so you have your seminar instructor who's working with you to prepare for that experience. So you've got all kinds of resources and support while you practice putting all the pieces of teaching together. So how do I teach, right? So how do I lesson plan? How do I get up there and excite students and engage them? How do I manage the classroom? How do I design assessments? How do I, grade students in a way that is fair and assesses whether I met the objective? So you've got lots of things to practice that last semester. That is one of the most rewarding semesters you'll have on campus. So lots of stuff goes on off of campus and in addition to what you do on campus preparing for that. There are also other opportunities to take advantage of other than those typical pathways that we think about when you think of becoming a teacher. So what can you do? You can study abroad. We have full semester study abroad trips, and then we have shorter trips. We have some in the summer. We do a 10-day trip to Italy in the spring. We study the work of Maria Montessori. She's one of the first researchers who looked at educating very young children. We have a summer opportunity in Thailand. We have another summer opportunity in Costa Rica. We have lots of different ways that you can gain a greater understanding of teaching while exploring the world in some of these study abroad opportunities. We can plan for those right from the beginning. If you say, I definitely know that I want to do a study abroad, we can work together to make sure that we can build that into your schedule. That can be difficult at some institutions for teacher education students because they do all of that teaching at the end and then they don't have room for that study abroad. So we're really careful to make sure that you can experience those opportunities if you want to. We also have other service opportunities. We have students who work with our Vincentian scholars. We have students who volunteer in local soup kitchens. We've had kids go down and work on Habitat for Humanity houses. Lots of opportunities for you to get involved in ways that are meaningful to our local local communities and, you know, further beyond that. So I did my fast talking so I could get everything in there, and then we could open it up for some questions. So again, I'm Tammy Bruno. My contact information is up here. I also put it in the chat. And that is Dr. Foote, who we met at the beginning of the presentation. She's our dean, and you'll see her contact information up there as well. So I'm going to stop my share and open this up for some questions if anyone has anything.
Yes, and just in case you didn't hear me in the beginning, I am from the admissions office. My name is Francesca Borland. So if you also have any questions about the application process, I'm here to answer those as well. So yeah, feel free to write any questions in the chat that you might have, or unmute yourself, whichever. I know it's a lot of information for sure, but all great stuff. And we're excited, and you know, she talked about all the advisement and all the help that students get, and it does start now. So for undergraduate students, it starts now with the application process. Everyone has a specific admissions counselor. I work with all the students from Rochester, but you have a specific person that's going to be the one that works through this with you and the one that reads your application as well. So they're great people to get to know kind of throughout the process. And we just hit the road. So even, you know, we might be visiting your high school this fall. So definitely take a look at your guidance counselor schedules and see, you know, stop by if you see that Niagara University will be attending. If you are seniors that are applying for fall 2023, there's great scholarship opportunities, especially with the admissions office. So if you do get to campus and visit, and then also apply before October 31st. So have Halloween in mind. If you do both of those things, you automatically get a $5,000 scholarship opportunity. So things to keep in mind throughout this process, especially, you know, with scholarship as well. Very important. So yeah, any questions?
They have to visit campus and apply before October 31st, and they
Correct.
automatically get a $5,000 scholarship.
Yes, they do. Yep. So this is
Even
all for the
if
current seniors.
Even if you weren't positive that you wanted to come to Niagara, but if you're strongly considering Niagara, it would be really beneficial to.
Yes,
that.
it's a very, very good.
And what events do we have coming up, Francesca?
Yep, so we have a lot of events coming up. Our next open house, so the next big event that's on campus is going to be October 15th.
Okay.
So definitely keep that one in mind. And then I actually do have a question here that came directly to me.
I think it was about
And-
GPA.
Oh, do you have it too?
Yeah, there was one I saw about GPA. I think I will take that one first. It says in Canada, we don't have a GPA. Can you explain what that means? Basically, that just means that we look at your marks. They say marks instead of grades in Canada. And there's a conversion process. So if you have letter marks or letter grades, they would be converted to a point system. And we would determine if it met our minimum grade point average. In Canada, that looks like about a B. So it's equivalent kind of to a B average. Also, do you know if you only have 5 years to get your master's? Okay, so Canadian students are not required to get a master's degree. So if you live in Canada, you're super lucky because you don't have to get a master's degree. So that would not be a requirement for you, though you can earn more money in Canada. The more hours you complete as a student beyond the bachelor's degree, the higher your salary can be. So that would still be beneficial for you, Alessandra. And then the last question, in elementary and high school, we learn French. Is there a class or program I can take to learn Spanish? Yes, we do offer, we have a Spanish major, so you could double major. We have a Spanish minor, so you could take, it's like 5 or 6 courses that you would take in Spanish, and you could actually, you know, use that as one of your teachable subject areas if you took enough courses for a teacher who's going to practice in Ontario. So there are many ways that we could build Spanish into your program.
And then when it does come to the application process, we have 2 regional recruiters or admission counselors in Canada. So you have individuals that are very familiar with your transcripts and would be reading your application. So we can share that. I'll share that information as well with you, her email and name.
Did you have other questions? I think those are the only ones that I saw.
Yeah, those are the only ones that I saw as well. Let's see what her email is.
Any other questions, guys? So I did want to reiterate what Francesca said, that there are many opportunities to come to campus. I think if you are considering Niagara at all, a trip to campus is well worth your while. It is a beautiful campus. Our facilities are top notch. We actually have a building that was built exactly for education students. So in our building on the first floor, we have a literacy center where we bring in students from the local communities to provide them with support and remediation. Our students get to work with them one-on-one, so that's really fun. We have model classrooms where all of the furniture is movable, lots of technology that you would see in K-12 classrooms so that we can model practices for our students, and you have the opportunity to work with that technology and within those environments as well. We have a teaching studio in the library, so you can go over and there are all of the tools and equipment to design bulletin boards, and you can plan for lessons, lots of resources over there, super exciting. We have a certification officer who works right across the hall from the dean's office. She works in the same office as our field experience supervisor. Those are the folks who plan the placements that we talked about earlier, the impact placements, the teaching assistantship, the student teaching. Right across from them, we have Dr. Foot's office, where we also have our graduate admissions office. They're the folks who would manage those 4+1 and 4+2 programs. And then I work upstairs with our faculty. Dr. Foot just moved me up here so that we could get lots of cool stuff done together. So our students can meet with our faculty. They work in suites according to their specialty area. So if you're really excited about and interested in special ed, you can go work with the special ed folks or the early childhood folks and so forth. So there are many resources on campus that were designed specifically for teacher education students. Hi, Dr. Foot, you're back.
We got pulled back. I don't understand how. So I was just telling Julia about the graduate program where they can work in the school district and get a discount on tuition for doing that. So I put it in the chat there. I hope that made sense. Okay.
I think there's a time limit sometimes on the breakout.
Yeah, that was it. And I should have.
I saw a countdown happen and I was like, oh no.
I couldn't ignore it. That was probably not my best goal.
I thought the whole thing was going to shut down. I was like, oh my goodness.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Any questions from anyone?
Yeah.
Hi, I have a question. I have my undergrad in medical science, and I was just wondering if you recommended redoing my undergrad in education or just going forth with the graduate program.
Yeah, you're
I do
gonna go forth with the graduate. Are you more interested in secondary or elementary?
Right now I'm debating between early childhood or high school. Yeah, secondary.
So I would assume you probably have teachables in the sciences. Laura, are you
Yeah.
Canadian?
I am Canadian. I'm
Okay,
also from Brock University with Julia.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
I'll speak Canadian too. So we're going to look at teachables, and I would say it's in the sciences, so that you would probably have if it's secondary. And if not, it's primary junior where we would get you in, and that I'm sure you probably got well covered.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, perfect. And then, okay, yeah, that was my question.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
so
you.
you will be close. You'll get your 60 credit hours. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go back and do it again.
Okay. And
Not
then
with a BEd, yeah, you'll get a master's then.
okay, perfect. And then I was just wondering, so like at the end of the program, is it difficult to come back to Canada to try to teach in Ontario or no?
No, we have 8,000 alumni living who have been or are teachers, 3,000 currently practicing teachers in Ontario.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
And a whole bunch of principals and superintendents and board representatives. Like, yeah, we're quiet about it, but we're all over the place there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We even have, you'll be able to do your student teaching in Ontario. We have supervisors who are former Niagara Falls teachers or administrators in Ontario. Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then I just have one last question that just popped into my head. To go off of what Julia was asking about the working with the school board and getting tuition off, would we have to go through paperwork because we're, yeah,
Yes.
we would.
The school district will be the one who hires you to do that. And you know, typically if it wasn't such a supply issue for teachers at this point, they might not be interested in somebody from Ontario, but they need you.
They need people?
And oh, they need people. So you would end up getting a social security number in order to get paid here.
Okay.
It's not that much. You could come over. You've probably been to the Outlet Mall before on the US side. It's around the corner from there. So that's where you would go to get your social security number and you'd be good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
I was wondering if you could touch a little bit on like the student visa aspect of the education. So I know you mentioned it's fully online, and then you have your placements, whether they be in Ontario or in New York State. It's like moving on to campus or moving to live in New York during your studies. Is that something that's possible with a student visa, or since it's online, is that not something that's possible?
You would take EDU 681, which was the bridge course, which is going to get you closer to getting your OCT. And that will be a face-to-face. You'd meet 2 or 3 times in the semester with the field experience coordinator, which would get you the TN visa and the ability to do your field experience hours over here. And in that instance, yes, you absolutely could live over here, and you can either live on campus in the apartments and things like that, or live off campus. But I will tell you, half of my faculty is from Ontario, and they come back and forth on a daily basis. So it's not hard to do it all. You'll probably want to get a nexus.
I was just curious because I spent a lot of time in the States. So being in the States during my whole education is what I would prefer, but I was just curious if that was possible, even though it's only online. Are you allowed to be in the
we would
States
have to, we would design an individual study so that you could be on this side for your field experiences.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
At least that's how it's working for COVID visas now. Yeah.
Okay, I just have one more question, sorry.
That's okay. You don't have to just have one more. We'll keep going.
Okay. So I didn't take my SATs because we're in Canada. But for that acuplacer,
yeah.
What kind of questions would we would expect on that?
I'm going to put in the chat where you can go and actually even find practice questions. Okay.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's just for the grad students. Okay.
Yeah.
Please. I'm just didn't next. Writing. I'm probably going to spell arithmetic. Arithmetic. I did. I spelled it wrong. Oh, don't tell anyone. So you can go online. There's actually practice. There's an app for it, even just to look at quick practice questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And Teresa Lasardo, who I gave you her email address, she'll be the person that can sign you up for that too.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So the undergraduate friends, I didn't really get a chance to meet these guys. Where are they from? What are they interested in, Mrs. Bruno?
Let's see, we've got, everyone moved around now. I had them memorized the other way. Alessandria is from Ontario. We know Mariana is from Niagara Falls. And Megan is our friend who is currently going to the Mount.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
We talked a little bit about the differences for Canadians and
Oh, good. I was just going to suggest that, but I should know that you got it right down. So, all right. Well, as I said in the breakout room, folks don't have to stick around. We're more than willing to stick around and continue to answer questions, but you don't have to stay if all of your questions have been answered. I don't know, Francesca, if you have anything else.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you have any specific questions about who your admissions counselor is, my contact info is in the chat. You can just send me an email and I'll direct you specifically to who you'll be contacted or be working with throughout the application process. For the graduate students, I'll connect you to the graduate program, but I don't know who specific would be working with you, but very easy to connect you to who would be helping you through the application process. But definitely come visit campus too. A lot of events coming up on campus. You can visit our website to register for anything. Our next open house, the big open house, will be October 15th. So great ways to get kind of a lot of information in one event. And then we have just daily visits Monday through Friday, 9:30, 12:30, and 2:30. So a lot of ways to come visit campus and to look around, and we'll do specific for individual visits. We'll do kind of specific events or specific meetings with people to personalize your visits to what you're interested in. So meeting education or whatever it may be. Kelvin, do you have a question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes. Good evening over there.
Hi.
Yeah. My name is Kelvin Agimugim. I'm calling in from Nigeria, Africa. I have completed. I did my first degree in medical laboratory science, which is more like biomedical sciences, and also have completed, but yet to get my certificate as well as transcript for an MBA.
Okay.
From another school. I want to find out what program can I apply for, because though I joined late, I've been trying to follow up and understand, because it's more, I see Dr. Chandra Forte as Dean of Education. So I have been a bit confused. I said, is it more of an education-based courses that we are talking about today?
Our programs are going to prepare you for certification to be a teacher in New York State, which then can be used to go back to other countries, whether it's in Ontario in Canada or back in Nigeria. It's up to you, but so we are preparing for undergraduate or for elementary or secondary teaching.
Okay. So can I apply using an MBA, or should I just consider applying using my first degree?
Well, it depends on what kind of teacher you want to be. If you want to be a high school business teacher, your MBA would be very appropriate. If you want to be a primary, junior, or elementary teacher, we're probably going to need to look at your first degree. You can actually put both of them in.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate all the questions and the interaction. You have our contact information, so if anyone wants to continue the conversation, you can definitely email any of us. If not, thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks.